Howdy, hello Grimsby fans, I hope everyone's doing well today. And I'm here for the big preview. And when I say big, I say it's the biggest game so far in Grimsby's season. And actually our opponents this weekend, probably their biggest game of the season as well, to be honest. It's Grimsby Town up against Notts County, a very personal game for me. But it's the Mariners up against the Magpies. I'll give you a bit of backstory as well, why the game's so important to me. In fact, I'll start with that, shall I? Grimsby Notts County has always been a game for me. It's one of those games that my dad was a Notts County supporter. So, and obviously I was a Grimsby supporter from very young. So, in our house, we always had, because I was the one that followed football mainly in my house growing up. Obviously, my dad was a former referee. So what we did is, I was obviously the Grimsby fan, and my dad was Notts County. So there was always a little bit of, gentle joking around and things like that. Whenever Notts County would play or whenever Grimsby would play, there was always especially when I was old enough to realise, what football really was and what being a fan of a club was. And every single time Notts County won, he used to say, "Yeah, well, the manager rung me and told me Notts were going to do that. It was obvious. We were definitely going to do that." And every time Grimsby would win a game, my dad would turn around and he would joke and he would say, "No, the other team let Grimsby win that one." Or Grimsby got lucky. Notts County were guaranteed to do it, but Grimsby got lucky, And it was always a good banter between my dad and me for that. I never got to see Grimsby and Notts County with my dad, which was a little bit of a blow for me. But we always had that banter, a little bit of banter back and forth. I think I think deep down he always wished Grimsby well. He did say sometimes he could see a parallel between Grimsby and Notts County in the way that we played. He used to say that Notts County had, if they had one good the first half, the second half would be rubbish. Same with Grimsby, or they'd have a bad first half and have a great second half. And that's where they paralleled. Not only did Grimsby, so personally for me, that's why this game means a lot to me personally. But overall, in the overall, whether I call this a rivalry, I don't know. But we both wear black and white. We're both black and white striped. One's a bird and one's a Mariner ship, I think. So there's some similarities and there's not so much, but you look at the history of Grimsby and Notts County, and you also look at the amount of players Grimsby and Notts County, through times in their history, have had the same players. I'll just read you off just a few that there has been. Andy Parkinson was a former player. Paul Bolland has played for both clubs. Junior Mendes has played for both clubs. Now, here's a name people probably won't remember. Don O'Riordan, for the older Grimsby Town supporter, has played for Grimsby and Notts County. Christian Dennis has played for both Notts and the Mariners as well. And many, many others. You'd be surprised how many former players really have been at each club, whether it be on loan, whether it be a permanent, whether it be a switch from one to the other. It's amazing how many players are linked with Grimsby and Notts County. Ben Davis, our assistant manager, was a former Notts County player. There's so many links between Grimsby and Notts County. It's kind of ridiculous. But Wes Thomas, let's take him as another example, went from Grimsby to Notts County. And the amount of players that went from Notts County to Grimsby, or Grimsby and Notts County, I lost count. I think there's around about at least 14, 15, probably many, many more than that, but 14, 15 players that I know of have played for both clubs. And it's always been a sort of mini rivalry, like I said, not just in my household, but kind of, there's a good game between Grimsby and Notts County, and especially at Blundell Park, like there will be. And let me just take you through a few stats. I'm going to start with this one, and it comes from 11versus11.com, and it's the head-to-head between Grimsby and Notts County. In the entire history of Grimsby against Notts County, the first time Grimsby and Notts County ever played each other was in 1893. That's how far these two clubs go back. 1862 for Notts County, and obviously with ours with 1878. But if you look at it like this, 1893 was the first time Notts County and Grimsby met. Notts County won that day. They won 3-0. However, just 2 weeks later, we got them back with a 5-2 win in the second division for the clubs. We've actually played around 82, 83 times over the overall history. The actual record is we have won 36 times. There's been 21 draws between us, and Notts County have won 28. So we have got a winning record. Like I said, the first one was October 5th, 1893, for the 3-0 win for Notts County. The last time Grimsby played Notts County, the last two times, were obviously in 2018-19, when Notts got relegated. We got the win 4-0 at home on December the 22nd. I remember that was a very cold afternoon, if I remember that quite easily. And then we played them in April. In fact, I believe it was the second to last game of the season. Notts County needed the win to have a chance of staying up. They got it with the 2-1 win. Was it Max Wright that scored that day? I think it was Max. It was either Max or Harry that scored that day. It was the first goal for them, and unfortunately, Notts did not stay. But this is the first time the two clubs are going to be meeting in non-league football. I think we've adjusted slightly better this time round to than what we did last time we played them. They're obviously in their third season in the National League, Notts County, and I can already feel from fans, I've seen fans' forums in Notts Counties, that they really want to get out of this league, kind of like how we do. But I think that they've been in there a lot longer. they might have an inferiority complex where they think because their name, they probably think, and maybe rightly so, that they shouldn't be down at this level. As we know, Mariners fans, we had that when we first came down to the National League. When we first went down in 2010, we had that kind of complex in ourselves. So this is a big game for both sides. I'll let you know the most recent form. Obviously, Grimsby have won 4 out of the last 5. Notts County have won 2 of their last 5. Obviously, we got that loss in midweek against Wealdstone. Very disappointing, but for me, not surprising. And we're obviously taking on a 100% record at home, which, and I've always said, we need a good home record, and this year it's being proven. Grimsby are, we're kind of, we've got the upper hand recently on Notts County as well. Notts are starting to find a little bit of form. Like I said, 2 wins from their last 3. Obviously getting the draw last time at home to Bromley. They were a little bit disappointed to get the draw against Bromley. Obviously being at home, you always feel as though you should get the win. They've been a bit up and down, but I think everybody knows respectfully that Notts County are going to be thereabouts all season. There's no getting away from that. But like we said, we've got no given right to be top. Notts County have got no given right to be there either. It's going to be a right old tussle tomorrow at Blundell Park. Looks like it's going to be an absolute sellout. And what support from our club. Can I just say that? The support that Grimsby Town supporters are giving the club this season, it's absolutely insane. I can't be more proud to be a Grimsby Town fan than I am this season. Everyone is together with it, and it's just all it's just great to see. And obviously Notts County have got a fantastic following themselves. I'm sure they'll near enough sell out their allocation. It's going to probably be maybe even our biggest gate of the season, probably. The overall form for Notts County is they're unbeaten in the last 5 games with 2 draws and 3 wins. That's also including the cup tie with Tamworth. So if you're wondering why I've said 2 losses in the last 5, I mean league games for that. And like I said, we've only had the 1 defeat in the last 6 or 7. It was a bit ironic for us, wasn't it? Because the Yeovil game, didn't that feel like the Eastleigh game earlier in the season? When we won 2-0 against Eastleigh, and then we had an absolute, which we didn't play that well in, and we then went and had a stinker at Bromley, or lost to Bromley. I wouldn't say we had a stinker. But then last weekend we played at home again. We beat Yeovil 2-0 at home, and then we had a stinker at Wealdstone. But both games paralleled each other. Absolutely paralleled each other. And I think with Notts County, they obviously felt as though, they're turning a corner. They've got a couple of back-to-back wins in the league, and they feel as though they can push on, and especially having Bromley at home, especially after beating Stockport the game before, and they'd feel like, we can win this, and we're at home, we should be beating Bromley. It was kind of like probably a reality check again for them. But there's no doubt that this is going to be a very, very tough fixture. We've got some stats here in general. In the last 17 games played between Grimsby and Notts County, Grimsby are 7-5 up in the way of wins. We've won 7. Notts County have drew 5. We drew 5 as well of the 17. So they've won 5 and drew 5. We've won 7 and drew 5. And we usually score within about 23 minutes or so. They roughly can score within the first 15 minutes. I'll take you back to not the last two. I mean, obviously the last two people know was in 2019 when we lost 2-1 at Notts County in the April. In December we won the 3 games prior to that. We played in 2017-18. We played them twice in 2018. We got a 0-0 draw the 16th of the 12th in 2017 at Meadow Lane. We got a 0-0 draw there. And then we played them in April of 2018. Big win that was. That kept our Football League status, it did seal it, thanks to the late winner by Jamil Matt, where everyone went bananas, and we won that one by 2-1. So we've only lost one of our last 5 encounters with Notts County, and also the time after that we played them in the EFL Trophy. We actually beat them by 2-1 in September of 2018. And like I said, those last 2 results, that 4-0 thumping, I think that was when Harry Kuehl was in charge of Notts County, but obviously losing the last time we played them. And it's amazing the amount of history these 2 clubs have got against each other. The longest winning run is 2. We've had the longest winning streak of 4. The losing streak is 1. Their longest is 3. Longest run without a loss. It's 3 games. It's both the same. 7 games. That's right at the start of the season. 7 games without a defeat. And the longest run without a win, it's been 3 games for Notts County and 2 games for us. We've had 6 clean sheets this year. Notts County have had 3. Matches that have got over 2 goals in the season, we've played 12 or 13, and only 6 games, have had more than 2 goals in them for us and for Notts County. Matches under were both 7 as well. Matches first half of a goal with 9 and 8. So there's usually goals in the first halves of games for both clubs. Like I said, the failure to score, we've only had 2 games where we failed to score. Grimsby this season. Notts have only failed to score in 1. So I am expecting goals in this one. That is definitely the case. The biggest win for us, obviously, was the 6-0 against Dover. The biggest win came on the opening day for Notts County, which was 5-0. That was against Barnet. The biggest defeat was obviously the 3-1 that we had with Bromley. And Notts' biggest defeat was the 4-1 home game against Woking. That was their biggest defeat. We missed a couple of penalties, maybe not in the league, but we missed a couple of penalties. But we've scored 4. We've scored 4 penalties already this season, and Notts only scored 1 from the penalty spot. Comeback win. We've come back twice to win a game this season. Notts County have only come back once. And with some of the players that Notts have got, I'm surprised they've only come back once. They've had a couple of big blows as well. Obviously, the top goal scorer for the teams is John McAtee for us, and for Notts County, it's Ruben Rodriguez, who I believe has had some scouts looking at Ruben as well. I think people seem to be interested in that guy, so we'll have to see if his head's in the game. But he is a danger. He is a danger for Notts. He's one of the biggest dangers alongside Kyle Wotton. Like I said, they have got some danger players, Notts County, and they do build from the back, kind of like us. It could be an end-to-end game, or it could be we'll close each other out. Team news wise for Grimsby, where it's looking unlikely that John McAtee will be fit for this game. Unfortunately, after his injury is picked up. Apparently, it's an injury he's had before, but the injury that he picked up against Wealdstone, he tried to run on, but that just shows how much that John cares. But it wasn't to be. I think you're going to look at the actual. I suppose you're going to look at the overall team sheets, and you're probably going to say Notts County. You're going to have more known goal threats, but we're going to have our own sort of threats in there. We're going to have Bapega. We're going to have waterfall from corners, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alex Hunt back for this game as well, as in starting. I think we will play maybe a 4-3-3 because of the situation we are, but we'll probably have maybe Wright and Souza, or Souza and Bapega, or Bapega and Wright. Clifton, I think, will come back into the middle. There's no doubt we'll have Towler and Waterfall if they're both fit. I think we may go 4-3-3, but we'll have the runners going off Lenny. There's no doubt Lenny will start. He'll have to start. He's our only fit striker that we've got. Unless Hursty can bring somebody in late in, but it seems highly unlikely on that. And what Grimsby have got to do, which is what we didn't do. We didn't do this against Wealdstone. We actually got Lenny to be quite isolated. Lenny needs runners around him to be effective. So whoever the wingers are, that's going to probably bring up our front three, because I think it will be 4-3-3. I think that we will play tomorrow. I'm expecting us to. I could be wrong. I can see, like I said, either being right up alongside with either Bapega or Souza. The midfield three could be any of the three. I think Clifton will be in there to give us the energy through the centre, especially if he's fit, alongside Coke and possibly Hunt, or be Hunt instead of Coke, I would think. To give us some energy going into this side, because Notts County are highly intense. They're a highly intensity team. They're gonna have confidence that they can come to Blundell Park and get something. Or they're gonna feel like they can win it. But we know what we're like at Blundell Park, and especially with a full Blundell Park tomorrow, it'll be absolutely bouncing in there, and especially if Grimsby can bounce back again after that defeat in midweek. If we look at the league table just briefly, Grimsby are top of the table on 29 points. And Notts County are 7 points back in 8th on 22. There is a little bit of a gap between ourselves and Dagenham. You know, the 7-point gap. Chesterfield are right behind us on after their win midweek. They've won the last 3 straight as well. Bournemouth are still right up there. There's actually 3 points past the top 4. There's 4 points past the top 5, which is Solihull upwards. Notts County are going to want to get into that. I think they're so adamant on winning the league at the minute that they just so want to get out of the league automatically. They're talking about, you know, they want to close the gap on us. For us, we just want to win the game. And if we can, and keep our unbeaten home record going, we need the energy in the team, because I don't know if anyone noticed or felt, I could only hear it on the radio, but it felt like the energy levels weren't there for the Mariners on Tuesday. Energy levels just were not there. You know, and we probably looked a little bit disjointed, or we sounded disjointed. Saw the highlights, and obviously the highlights will magnify what chances we did have. But it didn't sound like we... again, we didn't play badly. I think that Wealdstone just did what they had to do and got the result. So, in a funny kind of way, I think I'm glad that we did lose, because again, it keeps you humble and it keeps you respectful of the level. It's one of these games that I'm not nervous about, because it's a top side in the league, and when I say that is, you know what threats that Notts have got. You know that. I'm always more wary of teams like Wealdstone, because we don't really, and I think they're always more difficult games. Now, before any sort of Notts County fan says, no, we're the tougher game, what I mean by that is we knew Notts County were going to be top half of the league at least. You know, we know that realistically. When I say tougher, it's a game that you can... This is not a game that Paul or the lads will need any kind of motivation to get up for. You know, it's one of these games that, right, you know, you want to... perform, and you want to play, you know, especially in front of the crowds that will be happening. When you have also, there's a couple of subplots in this as well that involve Grimsby and Notts County. Notts County obviously have Carl Wotton, and obviously our manager is Paul Hurst. Well, Paul Hurst had Carl Wotton at Scunthorpe. And also, Paul did speak to Notts County, which I remember reading about a year or two before he was even considered to come back. But he was in the discussion to take over at Notts County at one point. I think it may have been the season they actually went down. I think he was, and he did confirm that. So a bit of a subplot there, that, you know, there had been discussions. Nothing came of it, but there was discussions at the time. But a little bit on Notts County as well now. Notts County obviously managed by Ian Birchnell. Sort of came through the same sort of way Michael Jolly did. You know, managed abroad, managed in Sweden, and this is his first job in England. He took over from Neil Ardley around about February, March of last year. Got Notts County to the playoffs last year. That's second year running they made the playoffs. And lost out to Torquay in the playoff semi-finals. And maybe they are starting to respect the level a bit more. Notts County, I think you've got... I know it's cliche when people say you've got to respect this level, but you really do, because like I said, results like ours happened. And we didn't... What I'm pleased with the fan base for, and in myself, we didn't overreact this time. Yes, we were disappointed, but we took it as though these results happen. But I loved the way the fans reacted in general. Yes, disappointed, but we can't complain from 9 wins from 13. You know, we really cannot complain with that start. You know, with a plus 15 goal difference, we've scored 27 goals. That's only the second time midweek that we haven't scored a goal. So that's just proof that we have got more threats than Ryan Taylor and John McAtee. But obviously Ryan will be missing because of his illness, because of his isolation, and obviously looks like John could also be missing through that injury. So we are light up top. But what I like about us is we, like I've always said, we have threats all over the place. But to get the best out of Lenny, you've got to have runners, because he will not. He hasn't got it in him to run. But if you can get the wingers and everything in the right areas for Lenny, it could be a good day for us all. It is going to be one hell of a tough game for both sides, not just us and not just them. For both sides, it's going to be a difficult game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the atmosphere, because I know it's going to be bouncing, because we know what Blundell Park can be like when it gets going, and I'm looking forward to this. Do check out my National League preview video if you want to know what my score prediction is. I will give you a clue though. I am going for a Grimsby Town win. That I will give away. I'm going for a Grimsby Town win. But I also do think there's going to be goals in this. So do check out my National League preview. And that will let you know what I think to that. What the scoreline is going to be. I'm just looking forward to this one. Result doesn't matter scoreline wise, as long as Grimsby get the win. If we can bounce back, especially playing a good team in Notts County, then this will show you what sort of team in general that Grimsby have got. You know, if we turn up tomorrow and we get a win against Notts County, one of our realistic promotion rivals, if we can beat them here, then it just shows you what sort of squad we have got. Because hopefully Ryan Taylor should be back next week for the FA Cup tie, as should Michi Fete. He should be back hopefully for next weekend's game as well. I'm just looking forward to this. Mariners fans, what do you guys think? Are you guys looking forward to this? Is this the biggest game of the season so far for Grimsby, or do you think we've already had it? Do you think we've already got it coming up? I have waffled on for quite a while. But like I said, I did say it was going to be a big preview of me previewing everything and what could be going on. Any Notts County fans see this as well? Let me know what you think is going to happen as well. You know, get your side of it. But Mariners fans, let me know what you think. Let me know what you really, really believe will happen. And I'll be back with, don't think we've got a midweek game this week. So I'll be back with the FA Cup preview when we go to Kidderminster. That's next week. Yeah, stay safe, guys. I hope everyone's doing well out there. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, comment, let me know down below what you guys think. And I will see you guys very, very, very soon. See you soon, guys.